Richmond Heights Charter Review Committee to order. We have to have the Pledge of Allegiance. Would everyone stand and pledge allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We will now have a roll call by our official secretary.
Oh, the official secretary.
Things have changed.
Boy, they just slip it right in. You see how they just slip that right in?
Before somebody can say intro.
Danielle Cadu. Dwayne Crocker.
Here.
Stephanie Douglas. Here. Tyrone Drummer.
Here.
Dwayne Houston. Ellie Eisenberg.
Here.
Stanley Jocelyn. Arnetta Parker.
Here.
Shadina Williams. Here.
I need a motion that the committee members not here be excused.
I move that those that are not here be excused.
Second. It's been moved and seconded that the committee members who are not present be excused. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion is carried. I have a chairman's open remark, and I received a letter today from David Lynch. It was sent to me by about 4 o'clock. So I just want to let the committee know that Mr. Lynch will not be attending tonight's meeting. And further in the agenda, I will read the letter and ask that the letter be admissible as an official document. Go ahead, approval of the minutes. Oh, I mean, can we have the minutes read? Wow. Moving fast today.
Okay. Yeah, because we got to get back to this person.
Yes, we do.
But, okay. City of Richmond Heights Charter Review Committee. Minutes, Tuesday, June 3rd, 2014. All were present at roll call. The meeting was open at 6:01 with the Pledge of Allegiance. All were present at roll call and the minutes were read. Stanley Jocelyn moved that the minutes be approved as read. Elliot Eisenberg second. The vote passed. There were no presenters for this meeting. For the record, Stanley Jocelyn stated that he previously represented the mayor's administrative assistant, Ms. Mills, in a matter in Toledo, Ohio, and not for any issue involving her employment with the city of Richmond Heights, and additionally that he had not received any compensation. David Lynch stated his concern regarding the situation, that being the potential for a conflict. If there was discussion and a vote on any issue pertaining to hiring or termination or an ensuing lawsuit regarding an issue of employment, the thought process could lead to whether Mr. Jocelyn's participation in that discussion and ultimate vote on an amendment been done so for any reason other than a necessary change to the charter. He cited an example. If a new amendment passed involving an employment issue and there was some future litigation, the employment issue or the litigation could put the new amendment under high scrutiny. There was a lengthy discussion on the matter. The final outcome agreed on by the committee is that Mr. Jocelyn will remain on the committee. However, he will not participate in any discussion on issues involving employment and will abstain from a vote on any such issues. Shadina Williams discussed her assigned section and highlighted those target items. Stanley Jocelyn raised the issue of the supermajority and also opened the discussion of the terminology of violation of his oath of office in Article 5, Section 8 of the Charter. After discussion, there was a general consensus that the language of Article 5, Section 8 needs to be changed. Chair Drummer stated that he would like to have discussion on live streaming. Daniel Cadu asked if that could be done, and David Lynch stated that we do have the right to have that discussion, but that it is perhaps not something that necessarily has to become a part of the charter. Discussions were also had on Article 10, Section 1, council to identify the 5 locations for public posting of ordinances or resolutions. Article 5, Section 7(8), absence. Should council president be allowed to vote on matters when sitting in as mayor? The mayor does not have a vote with council. The floor was open for public comment. Council president inquired about David Lynch's official capacity to the committee. It was stated that a contract to hire Mr. Lynch was brought before committee. However, it was not approved, but because it was presented to committee, it had to be brought before council. Prior to any discussion or vote, the mayor withdrew the request. Mr. Lynch, by his presence, is still available to sit and offer input. He is not a resident and sits by no official authority. Shadina Williams stated that the committee appreciates Mr. Lynch's presence and valuable input. Arnetta Parker read from her research how other cities have lined up their charter review suggested changes. Her research led us into a discussion on how soon we need to get our recommended changes to the charter to legal for review. This subject is very important at this time because we currently do not have a law director. The next meeting is Tuesday, June 10th at 6:00 p.m. Stanley Johnson moved that the meeting be adjourned. Danielle Kennedy second. The vote passed. The meeting was adjourned at 7:29. Respectfully submitted, Stanley Douglas, interim recording secretary.
Thank you, Stephanie. Are there any additions or corrections? The minutes is read. Are there a motion that the minutes be approved as read? It's been moved that the minutes be approved as read. A second?
I second.
It's been moved and second that the minutes be approved as read. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. I would like to just enter into official document for our charter. Just 3 items. This is going back to basically March 25th. This is the letter that that the committee agreed upon pertaining to David Roach, which was sent out, pertaining to David Lynch, who was sent to President Roach and the council members. And I'd just like to read it again and enter it as official document if the committee approves of it. It's dated March 25th, Richmond Heights City Council President, council members, 26789 Highland Heights, Richmond Heights, Ohio, 44143, pertaining to the General Council. Dear President Roach and council members, the Charter Review Committee has had several meetings and we have one request: to help us in our deliberations regarding our duties as members of the Charter Review Committee. We are asking you to approve a contract with attorney David Lynch to serve as our general counsel. Walter Haverfield and Todd Hunt has ably served our city for many, many years, but that is just why we have asked Mr. Lynch to serve as general counsel. We're looking for an attorney who does not have a long history with our government so that we might get a fresh, independent perspective not connected with the many councils and administrations of the past. We view Mr. Hunt as a very well-versed in municipality matters, but I hope you will honor our desire to go outside of our long-serving law firm for those purposes. Thank you kindly for your attention to this matter. Sincerely, Tyrone Drum, Chairman, Richmond Heights Charter Review Committee. I will ask the committee to, I ask the committee to accept this as an official document for our records and for the charter. All in favor?
Let's take a motion.
Take a motion. Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion to accept this letter as part of the permanent minutes of the Charter Review Committee.
Second.
It's been moved and second that this letter pertaining to general counsel be entered as official document. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. And also pertaining to an email was sent. I sent an email out to on, I think this was around April 8th. And I addressed it to the Richmond Heights Council Clerk. And in this email, I asked for the attached document to be entered as an official correspondent of the Richmond Heights City Council meeting for April 8th, 2014. And it was for General Counsel David Roach pertaining to my previous letter. This letter was sent to Betsy Trabor, who is the clerk of council. And her response was, at 9:30 p.m., she said, sorry, I did not get this email until just now, 9:30 p.m. after the meeting. I've been out all day with family members. Do you want me to read this at the committee meeting next week? My reply to Betsy was yes, please read and enter the document as an official correspondent at your next committee meeting. Thank you. The next day she said, okay, I will ask the president of council which meeting is appropriate to read. This email was sent, the correspondence was on April 8th, April 9th, and today is June 10th, and we still haven't had any response from the council, from city council pertaining to this item. So I would ask that the committee vote to enter this as an official document for the Charter Review Committee.
Second.
It's been moved and second that this document, this email be approved and entered as official document. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. My next letter was sent today. It's from David Lynch, and today it was sent Tuesday, June 10th at 3:54 p.m. Dear Mr. Chairman and committee members, regretfully, I must bring to an end my period of advice and assistance for the Charter Review Committee. You and the members are to be congratulated for your hard work on behalf of the citizens of Richmond Heights. I am confident that you would carry forward, and with your leadership and the hard work of all the committee members, the city charter will be improved to better serve the community. What a pleasure to meet such a band of selfless, dedicated individuals. Godspeed in your futures endeavors. Sincerely, David M. Leach, Esquire. If the committee approves, I'd like to enter this document as an official document for the Charter Review.
So moved.
It's been moved.
Second.
The move is second that this document from David Lynch be entered into our official documents. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question.
Yes.
Is it legal for this committee to function without legal representation?
That will be the question, and that's one of the reasons why I read these three pieces of information. Stanley, could you explain on that?
I don't see that there's a problem. The only time there'll be a problem when it's time to put the legislation together. That's where the problem comes in. So, I have to check with the mayor on what the previous legislation looked like. I don't even have any idea what this stuff looks like. It's kind of hard to sit here and say I can do it. You know, it's not my field. I think that we can get past stuff and figure out how to adapt it.
Yeah.
I was so tired did the last one, the last several.
So I think my suggestion would be that we continue to work on our recommendations and streamline them and continue the path that we're on.
If I may add?
Yes.
Last week, it was asked, well, what are we doing for an attorney? The council actually put a contract together with the Haverfield group and put together a ordinance to bring them on a temporary basis, and that's to be voted on tonight. So we're going to have an attorney. The other piece is, I know the mayor is working very hard to bring forth an ordinance to appoint an attorney tonight. So somewhere in between, we will have an attorney to work with. If you want to read the ordinance, I just happen to have it here. So
Now whose is, this is from?
that's the one that we talked about last week, and David Roche was explaining it, and I just kind of cut in and talked about it. But that's the actual contract that is going to be voted on tonight to bring Walter Haverfield in on a temporary basis, but not working with Todd Hunt directly. It would be working with the Mrs. Finelli, who happens, I think it's Finelli. I have to find it. But it's not working directly with Todd Hunt. I'm sure he'll be counseling or doing some things in the background, but the mayor and council would be working directly with Mrs. Finelli. And she happens to be the labor attorney for Richmond Heights. Anyway, and I think
What about the whole service?
the whole firm, well, not really, Todd Hunt was terminated. Or, yeah, it was Todd
Yeah,
Hunt.
and he just happened to work
He works
for Walter
Haverfield.
Haverfield. Yeah, right. And so this was
The
like.
council is asking that we work with Mrs. Finelli. Do you know her? She's the labor attorney attached to Walter Haverfield.
Well, my comment is that we would still like to have an independent person working with us. Even if council recommend Haverfield, I as the chairman will continue to ask for that to the council. And
So that would mean we would work outside of the law director that comes on board too?
has the law director?
Hasn't been appointed yet.
Yeah, but have they been connected anyway to Richmond Heights in the past?
No,
Okay.
not that I know of.
So that's something that we might think about,
Okay,
as a committee,
yeah, okay.
as a committee.
And just for the record too, everybody thinks like a doctor and a nurse, an attorney is an attorney, a doctor's a doctor, a nurse is a nurse. And I'm here to say that's
Yeah.
not true.
Not, yeah.
You know, if you are,
It's just a test tube.
yeah, you know, you're not gonna go to a dentist for surgery. You're not going to go to a criminal attorney if you need tax work. You're not going to go to a hospice
Those
nurse if you need,
And those comments are well received. We were passed out a two-part Richmond Heights Council draft items, and we have a 1 through 20. And what I think we should accomplish today is to place priorities on and as I look at them, we have some items that repeat each other and come under the same section. So the first one, which is hiring termination, I would like to just hold that one because based on information last week, it would involve family. So I would like to get moving on some of these other ones, then we can reverse that. Number 2 we have is a public bidding waiver of bidding. How important this one is to the city functions or the city moving into the next year and years after. Those are issues that we have to discuss. So based on this committee, the importance of public bidding. These are some of the items that we are looking at placing on the ballot.
Are we gonna discuss these one by one now, or try to put some meat on the bone now? or
Well, no,
just
we're
go
gonna
through the
one by
list?
one, go through the list, get them out, and then we can start putting the meat on the bone. So, if there's any questions or comments that anyone has, you feel free, and let's see if we can accomplish that tonight. We have public bidding.
What article is that?
we didn't have the
Public
articles.
building is Article 6. The administration or Section 3, Director of Finance, page 15.
I would just like to add that what you're seeing here is the actual notes that
Notes we
we're
put on the
taking
board, yeah.
on the paper of the last couple of meetings.
And based on the discussion that we had, we should have some idea, which one of these we would like to look at being on the ballot. Saying we have 20, there's 20, and if we can try to get this list down to at least 8, and then maybe have 2 sit in the parking lot. I'll go down to number 3. I know that shit is, swearing in date should be changed to January. I think that should be moved over as not a priority. That's up to at the moment. This is nothing concrete, that's just my suggestion. If you want to have another suggestion,
I do.
yes.
I think that should be one of the top priority. And the reason that I say that is, first of all, that was the one thing that the mayor did ask for. And it is in line.
On
That was
on the window sill.
really the only thing that the mayor asked for.
Okay.
And it is, when we reviewed the state charter, that's the date.
Okay.
And for the majority of the cities that we reviewed, January is the swearing-in date. It makes a lot of sense that, like, just so happens, and the way I'm looking at it, this mayor happens to sit on council. You can have someone run for mayor of our city who did not sit on council. It's not reasonable to think that they're going to now take the responsibilities of the ownership of a budget they did not write or create or know nothing about, of contracts that they did not negotiate. It should be responsibility, and I think that's why most of the other cities, they let that previous mayor finish out that financial year.
What is Richmond Heights fiscal year? Is it January to December 31, or is it July 1 to June 30? Do you know?
What was that?
Fiscal year.
What is Richmond Heights fiscal year? Is it January 1 to December 31st, or is it July 1 to June 30?
Wasn't it like something in
So-
December?
Sounds like January.
January 1.
So what you're saying is that you would like to see this, as a moved in a priority. Okay.
Yeah,
put
you
that.
know,
So-
the biggest problem is actually what has been stated here,
Mhm.
because what you're looking at is the mayor, ex-mayor, decides he's leaving,
Mhm.
and he literally abandoned the city,
Mhm.
and there was no penalty. There's no penalty
Exactly.
for that.
Okay.
And here he goes off, and now the present mayor had to establish a budget
Mhm.
and everything else, and this is supposed to have been done. It's supposed to be the last thing that he's supposed to do, probably. And instead, she came in and she had to come from scratch.
Okay. So we can.
Right now, we can put it as a top.
Yeah, we put it at the
Okay,
top
and-
because,
and
don't
which
forget,
number is
things
that on
might
the list?
change as we go through this process.
Well, I understand, I'm
Okay.
just
What
saying.
number is that on the
Absolutely.
It's number
Number-
3.
number
It's the
three.
third
Number
three.
3, should
Sheriff
swear and date
swear
be
and date?
charged, yes.
Well,
Right now, we don't have to go into a big elaboration about it. We feel it should go in and put it up there, and then we can start.
Mhm.
Number 4, signing off on contracts by mayor.
That's next.
Well,
Number 4.
that's number
Yeah, but
4.
we- And
With
where
a
do you want?
consensus of it.
What was the thought on that?
You could put the number there too.
The number from this list?
Mhm.
don't the mayor have to sign off the contract? I mean, what's the rationale there?
I think this is the being able to sign off contracts with a cap on the amount. I think
Oh, but
that's
that
what that
doesn't
is.
say that.
Well,
Yeah,
the-
but
well,
that's
don't
what
forget
it
now,
is.
this
Just-
is generic,
Uh-huh.
so whatever the language is gonna be, we can just stick it, it's just a generic list.
But that's
I
what
wouldn't
this
have-
is.
Okay, but
Yeah.
even generic, I wouldn't have.
That's
I
what
didn't
this
know.
is, what,
So that's
her
that
being able to
5,000
sign off
amount.
5,000, 10,000,
Right,
whatever the
right.
cap is gonna be.
So,
Right.
so would that go hand in hand with number, there was a number here with the public bit, no, I'm sorry, it wouldn't be, never mind.
I think the mayor should have at least authority to sign off on contracts up to $7,000. I was thinking 5, but, and still, you have to bring all the expenditures into council. You know basically what your year is gonna look like.
Mhm.
But $7,000 is not a unusual amount, I think. If you go 10 or 15,
So where we wanna place that, medium, top?
I happen to feel it's the top priority.
Okay, we can put it top.
And even the finance director addressed the issue that it should be.
And that's signing of contracts.
Number 4.
4, and you put down cat.
We probably
You know-
wouldn't send you without an attorney if we could do that.
Actually, these things need to be shuffled so that they follow in line with the charter, because otherwise, we're not gonna be clear.
So you're saying that the numbers should have had the articles that they apply to, is that what you mean?
That would be the best way to do it.
Okay, because we just took it from the
From our
spreadsheet, the
spreadsheet
spreadsheet that we
had.
just did. So,
Well, and don't forget now, each person had an area of responsibility,
Right.
so
Yeah.
we
This
should
is
be
your
able, so we should be able to pick out the items that an individual brought to the table, and that individual should be able to identify that.
Okay.
I think that's the way we should go right now, because there's no sense in rearranging these when we had, each person had a section.
Well, I think once
You
we,
could still-
Yeah,
I
you
think
can
once
still
we
do it
get
there.
them
Yeah, once
in
Then
top
you-
priority,
right,
medium, and in
right.
the
We can
parking
assign
lot,
the
then we can
section.
go back and
There
put
you
the
go,
article
right.
and section to
Absolutely.
it, yeah.
Yeah.
Once we
Absolutely,
figure out what it is.
Yeah,
absolutely,
let's see where we put them.
right.
Then we can assign the article
And
and
section number
Section.
to it, and
Right.
then, just narrow it down with each step.
Mhm.
some of these are overlapping or even duplicates.
Yes.
Number 5, my thought is that it's like number 1 of the top priorities.
Majority of council. Now, that's a duplicate with number, or
I saw
that
that.
is
Number 7.
connected to number 7,
Number 5 and
And-
7.
number 13.
13.
I think
Yeah.
that's high on the priority
Yeah.
list.
7 and number 13.
Yeah.
So we know that those 3 are, see, and that's what we eliminated 3 right there, so we're starting to make some, so we have,
So we should overall, we're saying throughout the charter, there is no supermajority. It's 4 of 7.
No, you
No.
can't
you
do,
can't,
you can't
do
do
that.
that.
You can't do that.
See, because
Okay.
you have 2 different things involved. Okay, maybe even more. But basically, when you're looking at changes and revisions, when you look at, you're looking at majority of council, and that should actually be eliminated when it comes to placing people on jobs or firing people from jobs. You don't want the council to sharpshoot. Mayor doesn't want somebody, council shouldn't be telling her, you gotta have them or else. See,
Okay,
and they can do that now.
Right.
See, that's
right now,
part of
they
the present
have,
problem.
right now, it's 4 of 7 to
Higher.
hire a director.
Yeah,
And we want to eliminate that.
No,
No.
we want to eliminate the supermajority.
You want to eliminate the
no,
super,
you probably should
there's
eliminate
2.
all of it.
Okay, for the mayor hiring and firing.
Whoever the mayor is, should have the authority
I agree.
because they are in charge of the day-to-day operation of
The
the city.
operation,
Right.
right.
And you shouldn't have,
Right.
7, 8 people, 9 people standing over telling you, you're naughty, you can't do this.
I agree.
You
That's
can't hire
gotta be
this person,
stopped.
you can't hire
So-
that person,
Right.
because she has a search committee.
The mayor-
And if the search committee does their job, then the person they refer or recommend to the mayor is
Right.
gonna be the best person.
Right.
And
Right.
that's where it should
Okay,
stop,
I'm
right
okay with
there.
that, but then we have language several places, because that's a different language set, what you're saying, and then we also have the language throughout the whole charter of that supermajority that we want to change. When there is a vote, it should be a simple majority, not a supermajority, except where the state constitution states it.
there's 2 positions that basically takes a supermajority to terminate we have to refer back to it.
Okay, can I just say something? That's one of the reasons why, number one, we're kind of letting number one sit
Oh,
right
yeah.
now.
Oh, okay.
That's
So
true.
we need to let number one
That's
sit
true. Okay.
and take these three and tag them along to number one, okay?
Okay, all right.
So we'll place
5, 7, and 13 in the
five,
top priority.
7, and 13.
And it will eventually be latched on to one.
She already got it.
Yeah.
Latched on to one.
Yeah, we'll put the one up there in a minute, okay? All right, so,
But can I say something? I don't think that the language of the supermajority is the same as the language, any language with hiring and termination.
Well, can I just say, good point, but I don't think the purpose of today's meeting is to discuss the point as to identify the points. So when we get to the discussion of the supermajority versus the majority, that's when we discuss the language and the purpose of said items. Right now, we're just listing them. So the majority, supermajority language in the charter for whatever purpose is right now in our top priority for discussion. That's what I'm
Right.
thinking.
right.
And there is, I can't put my hands on it right now, but I did go through the charter and identify every article, every section that has the word majority or vote of. So we can see exactly where the items are mentioned and in what circumstances, because in some circumstances, we may not want to change it. But that's for the discussion when we get to that. So right now, we're just, if I'm correct, we're just trying to
Place
put
We're
them
trying to place
in
them,
blocks.
we're trying to place them,
Give them priority.
get priorities,
And then we
and then the
discuss.
discussion can come up.
And I agree, but I'm just saying that's two different
Sure.
things we're talking about.
Well,
Absolutely.
then all you have to do is put that up there,
She did, majority,
Majority,
supermajority.
supermajority,
She did.
right.
Majority /
She
supermajority.
did.
right?
Okay,
Is
number
that what you're
6.
asking for?
No, okay, yeah, but okay. It'll.
It'll come back. Number 6, police chief, addition of 5 top candidates within the division of police.
I say parking lot.
Parking lot.
I agree with you.
I agree also.
Mhm.
Parking lot.
Parking lot.
It's not a high
It's not a high
priority.
priority, you know, you park your car.
Not a bird.
Yeah.
Top priority or
Medium priority.
I abbreviated chief of police and I was gonna write top priority. I got top.
So
Not
I
good.
just woke up, so.
we moved 7. 7 has been moved. Number 8, correct portion where amendment dates are not in compliance. That could be
Medium.
low.
Medium. Or low, parking lot?
Put them down, medium.
Medium.
But we
Okay, I'm
might
sorry, I
want
was
medium.
writing, which one are you on?
Number 8.
Number 8.
Number 8, and that's where medium?
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay.
Welcome, brother.
That's important too, so that it shows where, you know, it's your work.
She said that
I mean, it's the
No, it's
city's
the one that-
document. It should be
Right,
up to
right,
up to
right,
code.
right. You're right, this chair.
Right, that's what I'm saying, it shows where.
You know,
Number 9, term
Top
limits.
priority,
Term limits.
top. We're on number 9, you guys.
Absolutely agree.
Term
You
limits.
absolutely agree?
Absolutely.
Okay,
and 2 more.
you're not, you quiet.
Oh, no, I'm in agreement.
Okay, so you have number 9 and number 12.
Mr. Johnson,
We need a-
term limits,
We need another.
Oh, wait a minute, term
Yeah, we
limits,
want
I'm sorry, I put the wrong number.
we need,
We need another set down here.
You got one? She have them here. Here it is.
We have term limits, which is Article 5. And I see there is number 9 and number 12.
Right. So, got the 2 right there.
Okay, that's open, okay. And that's top priority, okay.
They put it in. The mayor's budget.
Now, is that the same
You
as
got
her
it right,
signing
so
off
it's
on the
not the same.
contracts?
Article 5 is the mayor, and the other term limits is the council.
Article 5 is the mayor?
Yeah.
Well, if,
I guess you have to have term limits for
well, if we get into the discussion of
Right.
term limits,
We'll
Yeah.
break it.
and wherever it's
Right.
appropriate, then we can break it
Yeah,
down.
it's both, mayor
Yeah,
and
you put
council.
mayor and council.
No, actually, it can be incorporated separately and any change, because the one that has the January start date can have the term limit, because all you're doing is adding it inside the same thing.
Okay, so,
Time, so you got time and distance, so to speak.
okay. So, and if it, as it refers to terms, we're gonna keep it at number one?
Yeah.
Okay.
If the group decide. Okay, now the mayor's budget, we have mayor's budget and signing off on.
Is that the same?
That's the
That's the
same
same
thing.
thing, I think.
Put a slash there, mayor's.
Sign off on contract?
Yeah, put
That's the
slash,
same thing.
put slash.
Or put number 10.
Okay, number 10 and number
Mhm.
4.
Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah. And, mayor, position full-time, part-time. I think this is one of those, yeah, you put that in part, I think this is one of the, ideas just came up. Is a position full-time or is it?
Well,
I think it
I
should
think
go
we
immediate.
need to discuss it. I think it's a top priority.
Hold on one
Is
second.
is this mayor, a full-time mayor or a part-time mayor? And I don't think there's much gray. When I look at the city as a whole, we have 11,000 people. And we have a full-time fire chief, we have a full-time police force, we have full-time service director, and the mayor is part-time?
So do we up it to medium, or do we put it back up to top for discussion?
Well, maybe medium for at least for discussion. I think we need to really dig into it and ask the question. Just because it's on the tip of my tongue, I'm sorry.
But, yeah,
I'm not saying we should pay the mayor any more money, but whatever benefits come with a full-time job, it comes with a full-time job. Her pay is her pay. And right now, whether it's her or some other energized person, they'd be putting in 40, 50 hours a week or 60 hours a week. That's just as much as our people here.
Elliot,
So-
Go ahead, I'm sorry, Mr.
The only thing I would like to alert the committee to is not to think in terms of this.
This
Absolutely.
mayor, exactly,
Absolutely.
exactly.
Absolutely.
Mayor,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
and the benefit of all these things in
Right.
the city of Richmond.
Right.
Absolutely.
I'm thinking in
Exactly.
terms of need of the city. There's been times I've called here and tried to get in touch with Mr. Ursu, Mayor Ursu, not here. And then only after years and years of calling or trying to figure out what's going on, I found out the mayor's job was part-time. I don't know if you knew that when you first moved in the city.
No,
All
I
mayors
learned
are
that.
full-time.
I learned that
All
over the
mayors
years.
are
I thought all
full-time.
mayors were full-time.
Yeah, I learned that over here, so I think that'll be
Maybe
something good for the meeting for
But you
discussion.
know what, but just know that I hear what you're saying, and I agree that we want, I think every mayor, unless you're in a little country town somewhere, rural, really rural, should be full-time. However, if you think that anybody is getting ready to now work double their shift or their expectation for the same pay, that's ludicrous. So that is one that is going to, require some finances too.
So once again, I think that would be
The
something that
discussion.
would come
The
up during
discussion.
It may have
discussion.
impact, but there's
Right.
lots of ways.
But we're
there's
not
lots
here
of
to
ways
discuss
to
it.
discuss
That's
it.
the discussion
Yeah.
again.
We're putting it on the table.
Yeah.
All right.
So.
I think 14 and 15 definitely are
The same.
the
same.
same.
Connected.
Okay.
That was that section, 6, that was my section, yes.
Okay, so where do we,
I think it
I
needs to
think
be a
that's
top
top
priority.
priority.
Because actually 14, 15, and 16 is really, pretty much the same.
Connected.
They're all
Yeah.
connected.
okay, so we can roll that up into one?
Yes,
Mhm.
14,
yes,
15,
Okay, and we
16.
think that's top?
yes.
Yeah.
I do.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know, I haven't heard from Ms. Ennis.
The language of removal, is that prior, that's top, you think?
What's happening?
Yeah.
That's kind of tough
Well,
because
we're
somehow you
gonna wind
have
up
to
with,
define.
either 20 or 21.
Because it's a
We're
lot
gonna
of
wind up
subjective
with
terms in
one
that section.
part.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we just
Everything else is
Okay, and
bring it
then,
down, just Miss
yeah,
Section C,
Small,
Yeah, we're
and
not
then
gonna-
start,
page 34.
then start condensing.
okay, so that's number 14, 15,
And
16. And what, if somebody could you check number 17 and see if that is,
That was the
That is the
same
oath of
one.
office.
okay.
That's the oath of office.
That was pretty much the same.
You're not gonna change that oath very easy.
No,
Well, that's by state law.
I don't think
Right.
it's next page.
So your parking lot.
Okay, wait, we're talking about number what?
17.
17, okay, hold on, let me just finish this one.
Okay.
13, 14, 15, 14, 15, or 16, and,
Does it have to be in the parking lot? Can we just?
well, meaning,
Because we have 3 sections,
we
yeah.
got 3
Well,
sections.
yeah, you put the parking
Yeah,
lot,
parking lot.
you just get rid of it, then you probably put something else down there.
Because it is in line with the state, so I mean, it's not gonna really change much of that.
I think 18 and 19 are very weak.
Yeah, I agree with
Yeah.
that too.
Definitely, sorry, parking lot.
Parking lot.
I'll pick you up on the way.
That's
I won't
okay.
leave you stranded.
Hey, it's okay, I might have some debate on that one.
Okay, so.
Okay, that's 17, what else goes on the parking lots?
18 and
It's
19.
18 and 19.
Oh, yeah.
Well, can it be medium?
18, I think, should be medium. 19, okay, I can go with that in parking lot.
I think that's strictly a matter of money, and we're not in the money with this charter commission.
Right,
Yeah.
right. But if, well,
That's both of them. Both of them.
I'm gonna label them all under one category.
yeah, you put it in the parking lot, I might have a small debate for that one.
And that's 18, 19, 18 and 19?
17, 18, and 19.
Well, I had,
No, 17's done.
17
is done.
It's done, oh,
She had
okay.
18 and 19, which was.
So 18 and 19.
We're wiping 17 off?
It's in the parking lot.
Oh, parking lot, okay. And 18, 19, parking lot?
Parking
Okay.
Okay, so,
20 is a good point. The,
Yeah, I think that's
Yeah,
one priority.
you have a very
That's
goofy-
that's top.
it's a very goofy situation.
well, actually, there's 3 things under number 20.
Because, just because the mayor is not in City Hall, shouldn't give the president and council power to control what's going on inside.
Absolutely agree.
I think he's overstepping his power.
absolutely.
And I think that's why we have 3 bullets
Yeah,
here
under
to
520.
clarify it further.
Top
I
priority.
think if you put language to action from the municipality,
No,
no,
no, because every
no, no, no.
time,
I said it,
every time a mayor has a lunch to go to, or a dinner to go to, it's outside the city. The
Right.
city's too small.
no, what I'm
It's
saying
gotta be at
is,
least the county or the state.
no, what I'm saying is that if we put some language to this section, it would clarify A, B, and C.
Oh, you're saying
Right,
clarify that.
One thing does it
Yeah.
all.
Right,
Right.
one thing will do everything.
Yeah,
Right, right.
no question.
That's fine, but you all
That's
know,
right.
it depends on who your attorney is. No, anybody that I've checked with on this, that's an interpretation that there was no way on earth any reasonable person would assume that that meant when your mayor goes from one city to the next, they are no longer the mayor. And that a council president or anyone could come in now and be the mayor. That's just ludicrous.
Yeah,
You said it's ludicrous, but it happens.
Well, that's right, and it's gotta stop.
Yeah, it has to stop.
But if you had the right attorney though, interpreting the charter all to the,
But I don't think that's our purpose here. I think our purpose here, if you look, it says, when we wrote this a couple weeks ago, we evidently, we said it needed clarification or a different verbiage, not to interpret it, but to clarify it. And I don't think we're here to interpret in the
But that is what we're here to do, because that's what we're doing, when it comes to all of this, is
I mean, your
Right.
example, but to clarify it, so it's not as broad as it is, but
I hear what you all saying, but I'm saying, okay, I'll go along, I don't wanna argue or fight with it, because I'll go along with it, it's top priority, but what I'm saying
is
is
that
that
where, is that where it belongs?
nowhere
Tom?
else would it even be an issue,
Okay.
even with the language that's here.
Okay.
This
So
is
we're-
ludicrous.
we're-
And take what you just said.
Yeah.
Take what you just said, nowhere else, but here, it can and has been, and that's why we need to pinpoint it and make it very clear.
Need to be clarified.
Just what you said is the reason why we need to do this.
You want to take,
Exactly.
you want to take
Okay.
anything in between the lines or
Okay.
intent.
We don't want any
Out of-
blurred
And
lines.
just.
Just what you said,
period.
you just answered your own question.
Mhm.
You just did.
Because that's what's happening anyway.
Yeah.
Throughout this whole
Yeah.
thing.
So where do we want this,
Yes.
guys? Do we want this?
Well,
Top.
it's a top, if
It's
it's,
top.
it's a top of
It's
it.
top. Yeah.
Right there.
Huh?
That's a little loud.
Oh.
Well, it's interesting when you just basically abdicate your power and let someone take over for 19, 20, 30 years, whatever the case may be, and then you have someone that's saying, you know, you're not supposed to be doing that. That belongs here. That you got all kinds of friction. And it doesn't have, it doesn't have to be.
Doesn't have to be if it's clear.
All we need is clarity.
So we got 18 up here, so what two?
Well, we combined.
We got one,
20
we got
is,
one more.
three.
Number one.
Number
we-
one, we
Number one and
tabled.
two. Number one and two, we
Table.
haven't, we tabled.
Okay, got it.
So,
And that's
Number-
tabled from,
well, no, that was
from
just tabled
priority.
today. From today.
Okay,
Yeah, from
got
today.
it. Table from the
For a
prioritization.
reason, yeah.
Okay, got you.
So, I would like to go back to public bidding, the waiver of bidding. Does anyone have any information on that or the bidding process?
Article 6.
Yeah, the bidding process
Page 15.
where, you know, it should be open, it should be clear, the place should be defined.
What opens bidding? What number do you go to the public for bidding?
What is it, 25?
Right now, we're saying 25,000 in the
It's
charter now.
25,000 here.
Is that the right number? Should it be lower?
That's a state number.
No,
That's a
no.
state number?
Right, yeah.
Right. See, there are three levels apparently. And I'm not finding them. The three levels are one, the mayor has grassroots authority, okay? So she can take on a contract up to maybe 5,000, I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not finding it, I was looking for it.
Okay.
Between 5,000 and 25,000, council can do it. Above 25,000 has to be competitive bid,
Has to be competitive bidding.
yes.
And if that's,
I'm looking for it.
Now, and that was also raised from a previous charter review. And you don't want to lower it because then you tie up the city's function. That's a lot of time wasted and all.
and that's the one amendment that has been placed on the ballots here in Richmond Heights historically. And not just Richmond Heights, as we saw in those other 7, 8 municipalities, that's common practice because the cost of living
Right.
increases. So that's where we go. So it's almost on the ballot every 5 years or whenever Richmond Heights has their charter review committee, which, we haven't seen that, but
Okay. So where do we agree that it should be top priority, medium priority?
I say medium because
Right now, it's at 25.
It's in part.
And I'm not sure, I'll look at my research and see, I think it was just changed with the last
charter review.
Well, the
It was
last
changed.
review.
Right.
November 2009.
We're not saying it's an issue with the amount or that, what I understood the question to be is how it is being
Then
announced.
agree to announce.
So it's not the amount, or it's not that it's occurring, it's how the notification to the public, the process.
Because didn't Mr.
Schmuck.
Didn't he address that, and if we go back to the minutes, I think he made either a pro or a con to leave it or increase it, so maybe we can refer to his recommendation, but you're right, I don't think it was about the amount. I think it was about the method of communication to the
The
public,
process.
the process.
And I,
The 5 most public places, was that?
well, the 5 most public places, and you know what, I don't think contracts are being considered for, and I don't know why I'm saying this, I'm just putting it on the table. I don't think contracts are being considered for minority and female vendors and contractors. Whether it's through council, whether it's through the mayor, whether it's through public bidding, well, public bidding is totally different, it's open bid. But in those emergency cases, we usually go to who we feel comfortable with, as opposed to looking outside of that box and saying, oh, here's Cedric Corporation, and you know, maybe they could bring that software into the city. You know, you got to get it out there, otherwise it's forever covered. So that's why I'm talking about it now.
So would you like that to be a priority?
It's part of the public bidding,
Yes.
and I think council, the mayor, when it goes out to public bidding, everybody sees it, but council and the mayor should be highly aware of it and consider minority contractors. When I say minority contractors, I'm saying female minority contractors, small businesses.
Well, put it up at top priority, because we still open for discussion.
Okay, and
That's number 2.
Oh, goodies.
Mr. Johnson,
See what's in the purse.
are you gonna sustain yourself from this discussion of number 1?
Sure.
It's up to
Are we
you.
continuing?
It depends on who's involved.
No, we're just gonna, the question's gonna be, is this gonna be a priority on our board, medium, or parking lot? And if you just want to refrain from the discussion,
Not a problem.
Right away.
7 of us can, you know,
Mr. Chairman?
yes, sir.
Excuse me. Based on the time, fact that it's 4 minutes to 7, I'd like to suggest we don't start any conversation regarding any one of the top priority line items, so that we can really do it the right way,
Okay.
beginning next week as far as that's concerned.
I agree.
I agree.
I
But
agree.
number 1 is a priority. It's
No, number 1.
Number 1.
I have.
Actually, it's very interesting what's happening, if you just look at this board.
I have one other item.
Mhm.
You didn't ask for any additional items.
Okay.
And one flashed across my mind that I had not talked about.
Where you been for?
I don't
5
know.
months.
He's been busy.
Call me Flash.
He's been reviewing his chart.
And that goes back to the president of council elect, and it's in someone else's section, but I just thought about it and to bring it to the table, bring it to the floor before we get too far along here. President of council, it says the president of council shall be a member of council elected by the people at large, so it's an at-large position. as president of council, shall preside at all council meetings and shall have all rights and voting privileges of a councilman during such tenure. I think the president of council should be elected from the council members once they're all elected. It's an at-large slot, but electing a president at council basically says this is the person we want for our president. It's an at-large position, but I think in most cities, the council itself elects its president.
Okay, so you would like that to be placed on our,
Some kind of consideration. I don't think it's parking lot, but maybe medium.
medium?
Yeah.
Accept the medium. Are there any other questions?
And I guess some of the reason for this is because sometimes the general populace will vote because they know a name. Sometimes the general populace will vote, oh yeah, he'll make a good, or she will make a good council person. But it is at large. And we have 3 at-large positions, right?
Right.
So why couldn't any one of our at-large council people be considered for president?
That's good thought.
Or even ward people, even the people that have wards. Now, of course, they're going to be concerned about their ward, right?
Right.
Now they have the responsibility as council president to consider everybody.
That's good thought. So we put, okay, Council President.
Yeah, it didn't have a number, so I just put
Okay.
added. And we put that at medium, right, for,
For discussion.
Yes.
Yeah.
Are there any,
I
Other
just have a
suggestions?
question, and I'm very good at this.
that's okay. There's
No
never a
stupid
stupid
questions.
question. The answer might be.
Is this a charter line item, or is this an ordinance line
This
This is a
it's
charter.
from the charter.
From the charter.
It's
item?
It's
It's in the charter.
Yes.
yeah, oh, it's section 6 or 4.
I remember it now, I do remember.
And it's section 11.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
just for clarification, I think everything that we have on our list came from sections and articles. No, I know from the charter.
Is there anyone else, any committee member who has any other suggestions, recommendations, or amendments that we'd like to place on the board for the charter? Anyone?
What was the question?
Are there any other suggestions, recommendations from any of the committee members that you would like to place on the big board? Not today, okay. I think one of our next steps would be is to, so get the articles and the sections and the pages assigned, and to start, putting some verbiage together, and we'll keep bringing this, we'll bring that back every week, place on the board. If there's any, suggestions or any recommendations to it, we can do that. Yes, Westman.
Can we think about an additional date to meet, maybe during the week? I know everybody's busy, but
We have one day a week is getting, I think we could.
I don't want things to get away from us where we're rushing,
Absolutely.
because whenever we do sit with an attorney, I would suggest we have verbiage for him, let him,
Take it,
manipulate it,
legal.
adjust it, but we should understand what we want to say. And I think it should be plain language where any of our citizens, when they look at it, oh, okay, I understand that. They don't have to go through a lot of gymnastics to vote.
So in other words, you don't want to have to say, if you want it, vote no.
And I think that's a good point, because we're only talking about another Yeah, 5 weeks, so I'm agreeing with Dwayne. If we can start getting 2 days in there for 1 hour, I think we could start capturing, unless you wanna stay 2 hours for one day.
That's a lot.
You wanna start saying 2 hours for one day, we can do that.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that, Stanley?
Maybe all right.
Okay.
So does that mean we stay an hour later, or will we
Yeah.
start?
We'll stay an hour later because I think a lot of individuals have to work. So the only thing I'll do, we might have to shift to another room
Yeah.
because the council used this room. So I think I'll ask if the fire department is available for us, and we'll have to let the videographer know. So next Tuesday, which will be June, we'll try to set the meeting up for June 17th.
6 to 8.
Yes, 6 to 8. And I'll try to get the fire department, the room over the fire department.
Over there.
How would
Yes.
we let the public know that we've moved and where? We have to consider that.
We'll post it in the
Post
post
on
on
meeting.
meeting.
She posted on the meeting, she posted out on
I'm
the
just
marquee.
throwing that out.
Okay. Public input, anyone from the public would like to speak?
I had a question before I came here, but I have another one. But you were talking about sections.
Excuse me, can I get your name?
Oh, my name is Vita Headen.
Okay.
I'm a resident of Richmond Heights.
What's the last name?
Habjanan.
H-A-B.
B. Jan. Vita, Vida.
I had an E.
Okay. You're talking about sections 14, 15, and 16, but since I don't know what they are, what are they? Because you went from top to medium. I just want to know what they are, 14,
Well-
15, and 16.
Well, we started this process in February of 2014, and there's a charter that we have been viewing and reviewing. What you're seeing today is just numbers. It's just a draft. These are draft numbers. So when we said 15 and 16, we were talking about drafted line item that we placed on these two sheets was a total of 20, and our job was to condense them down to a certain number that we're looking at presenting to the council.
But what is it?
Each of these items come from an article
Oh,
and
oh.
section from the charter.
I don't doubt that
Yeah.
whatsoever, but the others, you kind of explained in your conversation what the topic was. But I don't remember what you said 14, 15, and 16 covered. That's all I wondered. The
Well,
words it
today
covered.
we were just identifying, we weren't putting any numbers or sections to them because we've already done that in the past. So now we're gonna go back, put the section, put the numbers back to them, and then start discussing them again. So
That's not her
It's language.
No,
It's not her
It's-
question.
It's language regarding removal from
review.
Yes.
office.
Yeah.
Oh,
Section-
removal of.
Line items 14,
Oh,
15,
okay.
and 16 is, article, section 8, article, what is that?
That's okay, that,
Yeah, but-
removal of office of.
Yeah, that's the
whom?
subject.
Of
That's-
elected officials?
Yes.
Oh,
Mhm, mhm.
oh,
Yes.
okay.
Elected officials.
Okay.
And there's probably 3-4 sections that we have to,
Yeah,
Yeah.
just want to know the general.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's,
general.
and they're line items on our sheet, but it's from
It's
section
from-
8, article something,
No problem.
language of removal, yeah.
My original question was,
Yes.
yeah, for 4.5 years, I've been attending council meetings and other subcommittee meetings, and no meeting has ever been taped before. I'm wondering, why is this meeting taped? And will it be available to the public? I mean, why is it being taped? And I'm assuming it's for the public.
Yes.
So when will the public be able to?
We're gonna sit down and discuss that with the mayor to find out where we wanna put it on the internet. And that'll be a discussion about the public viewing of the tape.
Okay, and who's paying for the taping? Because nothing else has ever been taped. Who's paying for the taping?
This is coming through the mayor's office.
Okay. And today I don't see a Lynch here, David Lynch, because he's here all the time and
Yes.
Todd used to be. So is he not coming anymore? Is the city not paying for his services or what?
Mr. Lynch came on board and we asked to have Mr. Lynch voted through council to be paid to support us.
Right.
Mr. Lynch, we have not heard anything back from council, so Mr. Lynch has been volunteering his services to support the Charter Review Committee. And as of today, Mr. Lynch sent a letter stating that he would no longer be able to serve the charter, any legal to the Charter Review
Okay.
Commission.
Because I know, I think it was the mayor presented an ordinance to have him assist you.
Mhm.
And that the ordinance, she removed the ordinance, that he wasn't going to do that.
Yeah, well, we're an independent body, citizens of Richmond Heights, and we were looking for an independent person to support us in any kind of legal activity with the charter. And Mr. Lynch kindly volunteered his service,
Right.
and his service is very valuable to us.
Yeah. So when you gonna get legal advice? But you're gonna need it, right? I mean, this
Yes,
is the
we're
charter.
we're
Yeah.
definitely going to need it, so we are hoping that in the near future, a week or two, that we do have some legal advice to
From-
help us.
From,
It can come from council, it can come from the mayor's office, or it can come from an independent person. So that's where we sit as a charter.
okay, thanks.
If got anyone else want to chime in on that one?
Well, we're hoping
Mr.
that
Drowning?
someone who is knowledgeable though about charter review versus just,
Not a real
municipal-
estate lawyer. or
Exactly,
something.
or.
Exactly.
or
But the-
HR lawyer. We're hoping it's someone who can really, help move this process, because this is
It's
about
complicated.
this, and it's for the citizens.
And-
sure. Yeah.
And Mr. Lynch has dutifully served us until today. Yeah. So he has helped us get through this charter, helped us with the legal process, and he was
Mr. Drummond?
volunteer service. Yes,
We
ma'am.
have a moment. I want to make a clarification, that there was an ordinance put forward to council to have David Lynch supported as special counsel, specifically for the Charter Review Commission. And in a finance committee meeting, I believe it was, correct me if I'm wrong, Councilman 18, I believe it was last month, council voted against it.
I thought
And
you
it did
withdrew
not
it.
pass out of finance committee to committee of the whole.
Oh, well, even before that, I could swear that on that agenda, you withdrew his nomination.
No, I did not.
Isn't,
It went to committee first, and committee did not approve with the contract.
I believe somebody was there.
No, I beg to differ with you, Mayor. It was brought up at a council meeting, we were prepared to vote on it,
right,
one way or the other, and before that came to a vote, you withdrew the legislation. It's in the minutes.
right. That's,
I don't believe so. I think we will have to go back and check.
right. Because this,
I believe that.
because we had Todd Hunt on board at that time.
Council voted against the legislation. And also, the other reason why I truly believe that the two of you are mistaken is this. The mayor doesn't have the power to withdraw legislation.
Yes, you do, you introduced it.
Right,
It
I
was
can,
you introduced the legislation.
Right.
You have the right to withdraw.
actually, I do not. Todd Hunt made that very clear. I can introduce legislation, but once it's introduced, I don't have the right to withdraw it.
Well, it wasn't voted on. This was,
No, it
Todd,
was not voted on.
Todd Hunt was still here, and the
Because it was
question is,
killed in
well,
committee.
no, but that's,
But
okay.
to help you out with our committee, as
Yes.
far as David Lynch,
Lynch,
as
right.
far as David Lynch,
Right.
Attorney David Lynch, we did introduce a letter, a document, asking council to approve. And as we speak today, we haven't had, it hasn't been read, or we have not heard anything towards Mr. Lynch.
Yeah, and see,
becoming attorney.
If I could just
we're
add
in
my
a
2
difference.
cents.
Yeah.
Sure.
Frank Lentine, Councilman Ward 2. Yes, your letter was brought to us. We were getting ready to act one way or the other on that request. We felt we had a law director at the time, Mr. Hunt, that was taking care of the advising. Before we got to vote on it, it was withdrawn, and we never had anybody since. Not only are you out of representation, but so are we.
Well, Mr. Lateen, the Charter Review Committee introduced a letter. Our letter did not coincide with Mayor Headen's letter. Our letter was independent, and it was introduced independent, and our letter was not coinciding with the mayor's office. So we as an independent body introduced the letter.
Well, I think council, and I can't speak for them all, I believe that by
Well-
the action of being withdrawn, that we didn't think that it was necessary to do anything else with it.
Right, because
Well,
I was
I-
there, I was
It's
there
not
at that
before us, you
meeting.
can't act on it.
I still think there's two different issues that we
I
have.
believe that you both are terribly mistaken. I remember clearly that they called the roll on it, and you called the vote, and you voted against it.
So for the charter, that's basically where we are now.
Thank you.
Do we have any other public, any more information from the public?
Actually, the reason why I came,
Yes.
I wanted
Yes, ma'am.
to introduce our Charter Review Commission to Joe Seisman, who I hired to be Law Director for the City of Richmond Heights, and his appointment is going forward this evening. So going forward, he will be available to help you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice meeting you.
He's the Assistant Law Director of the City of Mentor, the Law Director of Madison, Law Director of the Madison Joint Fire District, and the former Law Director of Berlin. And I believe that with his extensive background in municipal law as well as in understanding the charter, that he will serve you all well.
Well, with council's concurrence, I really hope to be able to work with you, so it's a subject for discussion tonight, so we'll get through that item of business first, and hopefully we'll get to work with Elgin.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay,
guys
thank
work
you,
hard.
Mayor. Okay, our next meeting will be June 7th. Excuse me.
You need to send a letter to David Lynch thanking him for his service.
That would be great.
That would be
A
great.
card or something, a letter.
Really.
You got the next meeting already set up, the 17th for 2 hours.
2 hours, and I'm gonna go over there and make sure I get it from the fire department.
So will we meet over there for the full 2 hours or start here? Okay,
You
for the
know,
full 2 hours.
So I'll make a motion to adjourn.
The motion that the meeting be adjourned. It's been moved and seconded that the meeting be adjourned. All in favor?
Elliot, second, you
Motion
second.
carried.
Okay,